Welcome to First Wing, a Fourth Wing podcast.
I'm Brianna, and this is the start of my Iron Flame journey.
And I'm Kendra, an experienced dragon rider here to help this second year. Just a quick note, this book contains explicit content, including swearing, sex, violence, and death, and so will this podcast. These two chapters surprisingly don't actually cover many of the content warning. There's a lot of stuff going on in these chapters.
I feel like you could say there's violence.
Okay.
They do slice open
a wyvern. Okay, well, there's going to be violence in all these books.
Yeah. Today we are discussing chapters 56 and 57. These are some long chapters.
Yes.
Yeah. Last episode ended when Xaden and Violet were fighting, and she asked what his second signet is. But before he can answer, Brennan is like, we have an emergency, the wyvern are coming, and then they go to raise the wards. It's kind of a lot was happening at the end of that chapter.
Yeah. It ends, like with so much still going on. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good. So we're going to start out chapter 56 with this blurb on the top. It says, "It was never our continent. From the very beginning, it was theirs, and we were simply allowed to live here." And this is from the Journal of Warwick.
Yeah. So I'm guessing they're talking about the dragons.
So when I read this in this new time, I was like, are they talking about the dragons? Because theirs is... Are they talking about the venom? Right?
I know. I thought about that, but I'm like, no way, because aren't they corrupt and taking they're trying to steal the land itself, basically.
Unless by some twist we're gonna find out the venom were good all along, but how do you make that work?
You have to have some bad guys. They can't all end up being good guys. Someone has to be
maybe the dragons are the bad guys.
No, I'll stop reading.
Yeah, me too. No, I know. I was like, it was theirs. But that doesn't make any sense. If it was the Venons, they would just have there wouldn't be any... Nothing would be growing.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be alive. I don't know.
Yeah, it must be the dragons, because these are the first 6. So you got to remember that these are the first 6
people
documented people.
Yeah, documented or that lived through the bonding or whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like they said something or maybe they weren't the first that tried, but they were the first that succeeded. Or others that had bonded, but they hadn't survived their signets manifesting or something.
Yeah.
But anyways, these are some of the first ever humans to bond with dragons, so it would make sense that he would be talking about that.
That would make sense, but I definitely had the same thought you had.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it? Is it?
Okay, so she is taking these different members up to the Wardstone, and basically they're discussing that it's dragons. That was what was missing last time. So it's not the most powerful riders.
It's not even the most powerful dragons.
Yeah, so they explain that. We'll get to that. But, she's a little worried. She's like, okay, we're doing this again. What if I missed something? Like, right now, we need these wards up big time.
And technically, she didn't miss something, but doesn't know something.
Yeah. They have imbued the Wardstone a lot over these weeks, so it is humming with energy, so good on her for doing that.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't from any of the instructions from the book. She was just like, it feels like it needs something. Let's do this. It just
feels empty.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be nothing.
Right, exactly. There's a lot going on, and people are running around armed and battle axes and, whatever, and she's completely, covered in her daggers. She does mention that she left 2 in the cave with Solus's body.
Yeah, I was like, hopefully those weren't ones with really important runes connected to them, because we don't know what all of her runes
we don't know. I know.
So I'm like, hopefully those weren't the life-saving runes or something.
Right. Yeah, and it sounds like they're sending out the 3rd and the 2nd years to the different outposts along the Navarian border, but that she'll be with Xaden because Taryn and Sigale can fly faster than anybody else, right? And I guess they're going to try to reach the wyvern before anybody else, just as the first... you got to get through us first type of thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're just hoping they can really get these wards up before the horde arrives, right?
Yeah.
As they're going, she glances over her shoulder and she notices Xaden is still very tense. He's not looking at her. I mean, we're left with this, oh my gosh, he has a second signet. Yeah. What is it, right? And she thinks to herself, maybe he and I keep having the same fight because we never get to actually finish it, right?
Yes, this does constantly feel like it's happening.
Yeah, I thought that was a good thought. And then she says, what in Malik's name could his signet be if he went that pale?
Yeah, and I was like, well, and Tisniks do get killed. Right. So that would make sense why he'd be so scared of it. I also said, like, still thinking that this was definitely what it was going to be. I was thinking about Dane and how upset she was at Dane for invading her private thoughts. And I was like, this is not going to be a good fight. And yeah, I was right. She was also upset about that.
Yeah.
Along with it being kept a secret from her is also like, okay, great. Another fucking person who's just in my head when I don't want them to be.
Yeah, and we'll get to it, but he thinks the same thing, like, how fast can someone fall out of love? You know? Which we'll get to. I know, it's such a heartbreaking sentence. So she's still talking to Brennan with all these other thoughts going through her head, and she's like, yeah, it's dragons. She looks at the line, and she's like, it's more loosely interpreted as political power, not physical. So she had thought it was the most powerful writers.
Yeah.
So she was wrong both on the definition of power and on the writers. And you know that Dane is the one that helped get this to going, because he said you need to read the whole book, and she was like, okay, that's why. Yeah, I know.
It's great, and it's so funny because I was like, maybe he could help her, and then he did.
He really did, yeah.
He really did.
And so she's saying, like, I don't know, she's talking about the placements of the symbols, because this is a symbolic language, you know? So she's saying because of that, it's actually political power, which basically means, like, that's why Rhiannon's there, because she needs someone from each den. She needs, like, I think the higher ranking dragon of each den that's currently available.
Yes.
So and then she's like, it took reading the entire beginning to know that once a dragon fires a ward stone, their fire can't be used on any other.
Still, it keeps on being brought up, and I'm like, is this going to be relevant, or is it just interesting? It feels like you would not bring it up more than once unless it was relevant, but then even in these books or earlier in a different... right up here, because I made a note of it, that they talk about they only made 2 ward stones. There was only 2. So unless Navarre's wards fail so epically that they need to redo theirs, because or when she reads the other books, she's like, oh, there is a secret third one. I don't know what else it could be.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. So she's saying, like, basically they figured out that they can't use their fire again twice, which is just such a funny little, like, why does a wardstone care, but who knows? And and that it doesn't say why they never activated this particular one. But it's dragonfire that triggers the embedded runes. And they obviously had enough dragons. So she's thinking, why wouldn't they have protected more of Navarre if they could? So that's a good question.
Well, I think that's sort of kind of not really answered in the fact that the first 6 were fighting about this stuff.
Yeah, that definitely by the fact,
part of it.
Because we find out later that he didn't even want anyone else to know this data. Yeah. The guy, Warwick. And that Lyra actually was more thinking, like, we should be...
Everyone should know this. And I guess we know which way the kingdom went, huh?
Yeah, we do. And then she mentions her body is aching from the attack, and I suddenly realize this is the same day.
Yeah, I know. I suddenly realized that too. I was like, oh, right. She just got out of, like, a kind of not really healing session.
Right. Exactly. She comes back from this exploring the caves, almost getting killed by a dragon, getting one of her members killed by the dragon. Sorry, squad mates. And then suddenly she's getting healed, gets into a fight with Xaden. Before that, she has an epiphany that was not good.
Yeah.
And now she's going to do the war zones and then go confront a bunch of wyvern. Like, it's got to be dark by then, right?
Yeah. But at least, I don't think it's the same day that they go to meet to the other meeting, right? That's at least a different day. They do say they want to see us tomorrow. Yeah. When she goes to the she gets one
it's a long-ass day.
Rest.
I know. It's crazy. And she has to do that mad at Xaden. Oh, that's right. She doesn't even go. Okay, we're just jumping ahead.
Yeah.
Let's go back to this. Okay, so they're still on their way. She's sore. Brennan wants to mend her. She's like, I don't have time right now. And she's, obviously worried. But he says, like, not only did you translate this, but you went back and did it again when most people would have quit. I'm really impressed, Violet, which is such a nice big brother thing to say.
Yes.
And she's like, Dad taught me well, and Markham picked off with where he left, which, maybe something good for Markham, I guess. He helped her in some way.
Well, he was trying to train her to be the next person in charge of the scribes. So.
Yeah, it's funny. Brennan says, bet you disappointed the hell out of him when you stayed in the writer's quadrant. And she's like, yep, I'm definitely his biggest failure.
Yeah.
They are going to the top where the hole is, where the ward stone is like they're looking down at the ward stone. So instead of it just being some like what other symbols she thought maybe it would be for having it open to the sky, it's actually the reason is the dragons are supposed to be able to get to it,
Yeah, because I think they couldn't get
They're not going to get into that little cave, no.
Especially not 6 of them or however many.
Yeah. Yeah, and remember, Andarna has just killed a dragon today. So there's also, on the side of this, she's like checking in with Andarna, but she's being questioned by the elders because, I guess, they just want to make sure it wasn't just like done out of spite. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, this is the first hint we've got that like there's consequences for them killing each other.
Yeah.
Which I find a little interesting with the death threat. I mean, I guess
Taryn's death threat?
Well, Taryn kind of casually threatened Souls' life before.
Yeah.
I mean, casually, like, he didn't seem bothered to do so. But I suppose, like, as they explained, one of the very valid reasons is in self-preservation. And in that case, it was like, well, if
you're going to keep putting my writer's life at risk, this is self-preservation.
Yes, because Taryn thinks he'll die if Violet dies, so.
Yeah, exactly. He also says that to slay another dragon is a heavy mark upon the soul.
So that's how Violet feels.
I know, it's the same way. So that's why he originally only took one eye. He's like, yeah, I wish I didn't make that mistake. I wish I could have killed him earlier. He would rather have the heavy mark on his soul than on Andarna's. Yeah. But they're both proud of her because that was amazing.
Yes, it was. It was. She's going to be so cool.
Yeah.
Even cooler than she already is.
Yeah.
Also about the whole, the death weighs heavy on the soul or whatever, kind of does explain why Taryn didn't just go on more of a killing spree when he was, like, separated from Sigale and stuff. Because I kept wondering, like, why doesn't he just kill people until he gets his way? Like,
right.
like, stuff like that. It's like, maybe, like, there is a little bit more rules of what you are and aren't allowed to do, and maybe he can't just go around killing dragons and riders until someone gives him what he wants.
Yeah. And it sounds like it's not just a rule, but something that actually affects them.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so we have the dragons all exhaling fire into the chamber in 6 separate streams, right? Warming the air around them. And she can feel a pulse of magic vibrating through, so it's like feels a little bit like softer than that one magic they felt when a dragon hatched.
Yeah.
Right? And then they look at the stone and they can kind of, there's like some kind of hum and like it's obvious that something happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But she's wondering why it didn't like go on flames. Like I don't think she's ever seen the ward stone in Bisgayeth.
No.
So she doesn't know, so she's like, oh, I guess it's just symbolic. I don't know what. But she already said it activates the rune, so it's not going to stay.
It's not going to stay on fire.
Yeah, I don't know. She made a weird comment about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they figured they did it. They're happy. They're excited enough with a bunch of wyverns heading their way.
Well, because now they're protected, hopefully, kind of, sort of, from them.
Yeah, and Zane's like, we can't really test it. We've got to go.
Yeah.
They take off. It's Taryn and Sigale. Although Taryn takes off faster, goes his full speed, leaves Sigale and Xaden behind. They're going to the point that they're supposed to meet. So it's some kind of cliffs, and it's really close to actually where the end of the ward lines reaching, right?
Yeah.
So Taryn says, they're 15 minutes behind us. Use it to center yourself. And she's like, don't tell me you're taking Xaden's side of this argument. And he's like, I don't take the lieutenant anywhere.
Which is funny. But also, like, looking back on this conversation, knowing that he doesn't know, Taryn doesn't know, is because I was kind of thinking, like, didn't Taryn promise not to, like, keep important stuff from her anymore? So I figured that he probably didn't know. But
something.
I know. I'm surprised that he hasn't already asked Sigale, or maybe the reason why he's so mad when he finds out is because he did when Violet asked Xaden, Taryn asked Sigale, and Sigale was like, I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Yeah, maybe it works for some people, but not for us. Because because Xaden hadn't decided to tell Violet yet, so maybe Sigale was like, well, there's no way that they're gonna know, so I'll just keep hiding it.
Yeah.
I don't know, but this is crazy. I think I cried the most with Sigale and Taryn fighting than anything else in these 2 chapters. Nothing made me more sad than Sigale and Taryn fighting. Don't fight!
Oh, wow, I did not cry at the scene at all. I was just irritated, but good for you.
Well, I was irritated at the humans, but not the dragons.
So yeah, he says, as if I have nothing better to do than listen to your romantic issues. So he's not yet.
You don't have anything better to do. You do constantly listen to every part of
100%.
Violet's life.
100%. But also, I feel like he doesn't think that whatever is going on here is that important until
No.
he finds out what it is.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah. And so then she's like, sorry, I didn't mean to jump to conclusions. And he's like, though I do take offense at your insult. And she's like, my insult? And he says, you doubt your judgment as if I did not choose you for it.
Right, but what's her judgment that... I don't
That-
actually know if I understand what this means.
Her judgment about, like,
Xaden?
remember she was saying, you're taking Xaden's side. So she's doubting her judgment, like he would choose.
Okay.
You see? Like,
Yes.
like he's like,
But
you
what are the two
already
sides?
know. What
May
are
I
the
ask?
sides?
Are the sides like Xaden is telling me to ask questions and refusing to reveal things about himself on one side, and then Xaden's
Yeah,
side
what
is
is
like
the side
she
here?
needs to ask me more questions. She's not opening up because she doesn't want this to be real,
If that's the sides, she just asked him what your second signet is.
and he did not answer.
And he did not answer. So,
So-
there's no sides here.
There's no sides.
I don't know what's happening. Anyway, she kind of makes a joke here. She's like, but you weren't listening, right?
Yeah, he's
'Cause
always listening.
he's always listening.
He's definitely always listening.
Yeah. Anyways, she does feel the hum and knows that, like, the wards are ending here. And she was, like, thinking, like, would this be with the natural border of Basgiath wards if they weren't extended by the outposts? Like,
Yes.
this, how long it is?
Which is the 4 hours, which is the same amount that they could feel from the dragon hatching grounds.
Yeah.
Which makes me think still that that's gonna be important in all of this.
I wonder if the dragons didn't hatch in there and it didn't become official hatching grounds, if the ward would have even...
I feel like they're imbuing the land.
Yeah, that maybe
And then the
can get
stone has to get imbued.
and that's then sending out these
And
wards.
I wonder if that's why maybe this is why that ward wasn't activated, because all the dragons decided to all live together in the Vale.
That very well might be. Like, you might not be able to have a wardstone activated without an actual hatching ground there. So that's
Yeah,
interesting.
because you need the dragons to activate it, so I feel like them...
But the magic from the dragon eggs are a big deal.
Yes, that's how you extend the wards.
Yeah,
because
it's the
same
same
amount.
Yeah, that's it. That's got to be
has
it. Yeah, you have to
be.
have dragon hatching little eggshells.
And it's very interesting to me that along the Esben Mountains, right? Is that what they're called? Yes.
Yeah.
Is where other hatching grounds used to be, and now that's where
Interesting.
the alloy points are.
Yeah, that is really interesting.
I don't know. I think it all comes together.
Yeah, it very well could be. But she's thinking gods were not even shielding most of Tyrrendor if this is the wardstone's natural range.
Yeah, but you guys can extend the wards. Doesn't she know how to extend? Like, when she was looking into how to activate the wardstone, she was like, all of this stuff is only about how to extend it, extend it.
Yeah.
So she should know how to extend it, right?
You would think so. You would think so. Or something, right?
Maybe
What's happening
maybe
here?
Maybe Lyra's journal will help with that too.
Yeah. Okay, good. So the nearest riot of 3 is 20 miles to the north and the same to the south. So that riot is dragon. So those are the other dragons. So they're 20 miles away. But he's still getting information. She says no sightings, right?
Yeah.
And he's like,
you're
not from the cliffs. And she goes,
No, I think that he's looking with his own eyeballs right now. And because he can see farther than her.
Oh, maybe. And then, but beyond, I'd estimate we have a quarter an hour. Yeah. Okay, fine.
Yeah, I think he can feel the wyvern a little bit, maybe, like that unnatural magic kind of.
I still think there can be some communication between dragons. I think it's just no one can hear Xaden talk.
You think over 20 miles?
Yeah, because it says right here, deploying in smaller but closely spaced units gives the stronger dragons a better chance at communicating.
Well, yes, but they are even faster. I just think that
Okay, they may have
When
been
they first
farther, but
arrived-
everybody else is communicating.
when they first arrive, they're a little bit outside that range, but then the other ones come and they're...
Maybe, yeah. Okay, good. So he says, prepare yourself. Sigil approaches, and then
So he can warn her. Just saying. I just want to say...
he doesn't want to half the times.
But this
No.
time he thinks it's actually necessary.
He just gets free reality TV show all
Yeah.
the time. He's like,
It's
why
like
would
I have nothing else to do. You do have nothing else. Unless you're with Sigil, you have nothing else to do but than to watch this drama.
Yeah, what does he do all day? Listen to Violet.
Maybe train Darna a little bit.
Maybe.
But she was sleeping for a long time.
I know. So then she asks him again, which is kind of funny, but she says, do you think he's right? And then Taryn says, I know he thinks he is.
Yes.
Xaden shows up. She says no sightings on this side of the cliff, but she's keeping her shields firmly in place.
Yeah, and I wondered when she said that, is there a way for her to fully block him out with the, thinking that he can read minds? Yes, well, we do learn the answer is yes. But I did wonder, like, all these times that she's shielded from him. And even that time that he said, the one day you fully block me out, it's because, like, were dead or something. But
and
then
yet
she did
she's
it.
still able to fully,
And then he was really surprised, remember?
Yeah.
He was
so
like,
she's got strong shields.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe he didn't believe that she could because of his power.
Yeah.
But no, because that's so silly, because then later when they're at that meeting, he's like, oh, I can only read one of them. The rest of them all have shields up. So he does know that he can be blocked out.
No, he does. He does know. Maybe there is a certain way he could, with her, just powerfully crash through her, like in a moment of danger. I don't really know. Maybe he thinks he really could get through somehow. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, like if he really needed to, he would be stronger than her.
I don't know. That one statement he made before, I can't tell if it's just like he was so wrong.
Maybe he just was surprised that she's as powerful as she was. Maybe he thought, I'll always be more powerful than her.
Yeah.
And then he's not.
Yeah, maybe.
Even with two sickness, because listen, guess who else is having two sickness eventually?
Right.
One day.
So he's like, there's no one else out here. And she's, yeah, we're the only ones here. And he's like, no, that's not what I mean. There's no one within miles to hear us.
I know. And I was like, so you're going to tell her. That was kind of really not maybe somewhat kind of maybe his plan?
Yeah.
He's not clear about it.
Well, no, she's like, wait, are you suggesting that the reason you didn't answer my question back in Arisha was because you don't trust your own sound shield on our room? And he says there's always someone better at something than you, including wards, which is very true.
Yes.
And maybe that wasn't the entire reason. Yeah, obviously he's terrified. He literally tries to get her to stop figuring it out halfway through. But,
yeah.
But, she calls bullshit on him and stuff like that. But what I was trying to say was, it's not wrong. There are people with super hearing, right? There are sound runes that could be accidentally or have been like snuck in his room, all sorts of things, and it is his life on the line. Now, he also just doesn't want to tell her.
Yes.
But it was a pretty good excuse.
Yeah. But I like that he's honest enough to be like, well, yeah, but also...
But there's other reasons, yeah. Well, she's like, ask me, in quotation marks.
Oh
yeah,
gosh.
The first real question I posed, you duck out the door like a coward.
Yeah.
And then he says, it never occurred to me that you'd ask about a second signet. And then she calls him out.
I know.
She's like, liar? You wouldn't have told me that Sigale bonded your grandfather if you never wanted me to know. Whether it was a conscious or unconscious choice, you made it. You knew I'd figure it out. Was it just another one of your ask me tests? Because if so, you failed this one, not me. He yells, don't you think I know that? When she's saying that he's failed, basically.
Yeah.
But so he loses control for a second, but then gets his self-control back in. Mm-hmm. And she's like, sometimes I feel like I don't know you. How am I supposed to really love you if I don't know you? And this is when he says, how long do you think it takes for someone to fall out of love?
Yeah.
A day, a month? I'm asking because I don't have any experience with it. I'm asking because I think it will take you all of a heartbeat once you know. Right. He's terrified.
So he's thinking that she's going to be mad because of the same reason she was mad at Dane, right? Or because he kept a secret, or because... I think he's worried that I don't know, that she's going to... Maybe it's a really big secret to keep. Maybe he knows it's a really big secret to keep. I mean, it is a really big there's
secret.
a reason... Violet herself says, I kind of get why they kill these people.
Yeah.
It's really intense to be able to know what everyone's thinking.
Yeah, she did go from, being friends with Dane to hating him.
Because of that one thing.
So maybe that's in his mind, wow, I can never tell her. Wow, I don't know. Why couldn't he tell her? I would like to know, really, if he had told her, after they had made up and they were like, we are this relationship, we love each other. Hey, the throne room scene, perfect time to tell her.
I think he's a little distracted.
She's not going to tell on him. Are you crazy?
I know. When he says later in this chapter, if you want to turn me in, I totally get it. I'm like, I won't. Even if she decides she doesn't want to be in a relationship with you anymore, I would never, ever forgive Violet for murdering you, because that's exactly what she would be doing.
And she would never, and the fact that he even worried, it's very confusing to me. It's one of those things, I think, that sometimes when you keep a secret or you have a lie, it the longer you wait, the harder and harder and harder it is to tell, and that can happen.
And it kind of builds in your head.
It builds
what
in your head,
happen.
yeah, because he's expecting a lot. He's expecting a big something here.
Yes. Yeah. This is, I don't know either, but it must be the Dane thing. It must be. What she was scared of, he manipulated every single part of a relationship like that. Yeah, it's got to be that. So, and we can talk about this more once we've gotten to the actual... we know what it is, but we haven't gotten there yet. She is thinking to herself, what if he's got something like Cat, or he's manipulating my emotions this whole time? Right, and then he says out loud, I would never do something like that. And she's like, I didn't mean to say it out loud. I'm like, how does she miss this right here? I know! I was like, okay, this has happened before. Yes. This very is at least the third or fourth time where she says, I didn't realize I said that out loud. Yeah, or it's like, I didn't realize I sent that through the bond or whatever. And it was like, but per the book, it was not italicized. Yeah. Which means I don't think
And we
he
need to
did.
talk about this when we get to what he says about his power, okay?
Yeah.
Because there's so much to talk about, and somehow we have to do it really fast. But, yeah, so she doesn't catch it then. Okay. And then she's like, just tell me what it is. She says, you said that you trust me to stay because even if I don't know your darkest deeds, I know what you're capable of. But I don't if you won't tell me. And she's like, somehow we're back to where we were months ago.
Yes.
So she's like, I won't be able to know these darkest deeds if you won't just give them to me.
Yes.
And then she starts thinking out loud. Signets have to do with who we are at our core and what we need. You're a master of secrets, hence the shadows. You're deadly with every weapon you pick up, but that's not a signet. And then he's like, stop. And then she's like, you're ruthless, which I guess could have something to do with an ability to shut off your emotions. You're a natural leader. Everybody gravitates towards you even against her better judgment. You're always in the right place. And she's like, are you a distance wielder? And then we hear, like, in her head, she's thinking, I've only read about 2 writers in all of history who could cross hundreds of miles in a single step.
That would be so cool. I hope that that's what her power is.
That would be really cool.
I was like kind of
never have a night away from Xaden ever.
That's what he says he'd use it for.
Right. He's literally like, he's basically, I would never have missed a night in your bed if I was a distance wielder. And I'm like, go Xaden. And she's like, but what do you need? You need to question everyone to make your own impressions. Do you remember?
I remember when he was like, oh, I started questioning the flyers, but like I couldn't get to all of them. And she was like, as if his personal recommendation would be all that counts. Well, yeah, a little bit. If
she's
he
also
could read
like,
their
as if you could figure out, and he specifically says, I haven't been able to sense I have not yet been able to figure out all their intentions. He said the word intention
he did.
in that moment.
Oh my god.
I know. I was like,
he is pretty terrible at keeping the secret. I mean, you could say
he wants her to know.
Rebecca's writing and her giving us hints and stuff,
yeah.
But in universe, it definitely seems like he's just like, eventually she'll get there if I just make it really obvious all the time, like answering her thoughts, basically.
I know. It's when you reread these books after knowing this, there is so much. You're just like, what? Anyways, about this particular
signet. Yeah, especially because he seems to claim, like, well, whatever.
We gotta.
He claims.
Yes. Okay, good. So she's thinking this about you need to know, or she's saying this. Question everyone to make your own impressions. You need to be a quick judge of character in order to know who to trust and who not to. For the smuggling mission, etc. Then he's like, stop. And she ignores him, of course. And she says, you need to fix. And she's like, never mind. If you could mend, you wouldn't have brought me to Arisha. Let's try eliminating signets instead. You can't see the future, or you would never have led us to Athabine. You can't wield any element, or you would have done so at Ressin. I pause as a thought pushes past the others. Who knows?
So when it said a thought pushes past the others, I thought I thought she'd figured it out.
Oh, I know.
And I thought her response was, who knows? Like, oh, this is scary. Who knows? Your life's in danger.
No, she just wants to know whether she should be jealous of the fact that they will know or not.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed when I realized that that's what she meant.
Yeah.
I was like, it's fine, but I thought you were like...
She's worried she's the only person close to him that doesn't even know. And he's like, for fuck's sake, Violet, no one else knows.
Right. Although it seems like they could have figured it out. Just answering all of, like, Garrick's thoughts. Garrick's like, I don't know, he's just a weird guy.
I don't know. Oh my goodness. Oh gosh. So he says, no one knows because if they did, I'd be dead.
Can he talk to dragons? Sorry.
Can he?
Because doesn't he tell Sigale, like, no, you only bonded me because I reminded you.
So this is a problem in like, I'm not sure if it's a writing problem or what it is, but when he drags Violet out of her room after she almost dies and she stops time, he drags her all the way to Taryn.
Yeah.
And he's whatever he's doing, and Taryn says, do not dare to read me, human.
Oh my god.
But Taryn doesn't know. So why did he say that?
He could just feel...
Why? Was he...
Wait.
Right?
What?
It doesn't make any sense. I almost wonder if it's a writing error, if Rebecca had planned on him knowing.
Yeah, and
it was another...
Like, it'll ruin their relationship. With Taryn, like Taryn and Violet.
It would ruin Taryn and Violet's
relationship. Yeah.
At this point, I don't know if it would ruin, but it really would. The betrayal would be bigger than with Xaden, I think, at this point. Yeah. So I wonder if she's changed her mind.
But maybe it was more like an ironic way to phrase it. I don't know.
I know, it really seemed like every time I read that, I go, why is he saying that? Like,
I even remember thinking, like, what a weird line. What does he do? What does he mean by that? Isn't he just like looking at... I was confused when I read it in the moment.
Yeah. it's very interesting. So yeah, so he just says this about being dead, and she's like, okay, she thinks he has to have full control. He has to make snap character judgments. He has to intrinsically know who to trust and who not to, in order for the movement to have been as successful as was within the walls of Vesgaeth. He has to know ... everything. Xaden's most pressing need is information, and this is when Taryn shifts his body, angling it towards Sigale instead of beside her. And that's the sign for us to know that Taryn's like, what the fuck, right?
Oh my gosh, because the second Violet figures out, because of course Taryn knows everything she's thinking. And
he's
it's like
figuring it out with her.
The most obvious explanation once you think it. Like, once you think it, you're like, oh, yep, that's the only thing it can be.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense.
Now, he does do a little thing here where she's realizing it, and he says yes. And then she shakes her head and says no. And then he says, yes, it's how I knew I could trust you not to tell anyone about the meeting under the tree last year. How I seem to know what my opponent has planned on the map before their next move. Okay, so that line.
Oh, yeah.
So this is everyone listening here. This is when Brianna had her first prediction that Xaden was
a mind reader,
which is called an intrinsic. But they were fighting on the mat, and she wasn't able to get him. Like, she was like, he could like read my every move. And then one point she says, she does something. She says, I do it without even thinking. And she takes him down, and he looks surprised.
Yeah.
And Brianna caught that and was like, see, she didn't think beforehand. That's 100% what happened.
Yes.
Because he says,
yes,
I know exactly what my opponents have planned on the mat before their next move.
And that was the only way she could do it.
You picked it up.
I can't believe.
And then you talked yourself out of it.
Because there was so much pointing to no. I'm sorry, but we're at the end of the second book. I didn't think it would take
like
this long. Although I should have, because like you got to save something for later in the books. You can't just reveal everything in book one. But the second they could talk in each other's minds, I just figured that trope was covered. Because I was looking at it from like a trope standpoint. Like you need a mind reader, and now we got Dane, the memory reader, and Xaden and her can talk mind to mind. I just figured we've done it. We don't
need that anymore.
We've covered this trope.
Yeah, and we had the guy get killed in front of everybody, so we covered someone getting killed because of being an intrinsic.
Yeah, but I should have thought more, but still, like, there's a whole chapter blurb about intrinsics, and that's all just because this one guy dies. Like, that's the whole thing. That probably should include me more than anything else, because these
you brought it up every once in a while. You'd say like something like, oh, then it must be the shadows, which we need to talk about shadows.
Oh, but yeah, because that was the other explanation. There was just too many explanations.
We have to get through it. He hasn't even said the word intrinsic hasn't even come up yet. But we have to get through this one part, and then we got to talk a little bit more about that. So then she's like shaking her head in denial, and he keeps going, it's why I didn't kill Dane in the interrogation chamber, why I let him come with us, because the second his shields wavered, I knew he'd had a true epiphany. How would I know that, Violet? And she thinks he read Dane's mind.
Oh, tables turned on Dane there.
And she's like, you're an intrinsic. She thinks Xaden is more dangerous than I ever imagined. And then he says, I'm a type of intrinsic. I can read intentions. Maybe I would know what to call it if they didn't kill everyone with even a hint of the signet.
I couldn't believe I also called that, because didn't I say, like, recently, in the last recent chapters, I said, well, there's no way he's a full mind reader, though. He must be... You
did. Some kind of mind reader.
But then it just doesn't make sense for him to read, like, every thought.
Yes, that's right. And she says, can you read thoughts or not? And he's like, it's more complicated than that. Think of that breath of a second before the actual thought, the subconscious motivation you might not even be aware of in your mind, or when instinct drives you to move, or you're looking to betray someone. The intention is always there. Mostly they come across as pictures, but some people intend in really, really clear pictures. So
like Violet, he says that Violet kind of does that.
Yeah, but he's also just saying anybody does. But this is what's interesting.
She's really clear about it. That's why sometimes.
So that's why sometimes it sounds. That's why some of those. This is what I got confused about a little bit, is because some of those, like, where he seems to be actually hearing her words and he's responding to them, doesn't make sense if he's seeing in pictures. So maybe, like you said, if she just thinks in very clear pictures, then he's able to get the basic understanding to have, because the first time he does that responding that I remember is right after when he's like getting her ready to go to take Taryn after she almost gets killed. Yeah, and he says something to her then, and it's one of those like perfect answers, and she thinks, oh, I said that out loud type of thing, right?
Yeah, that time she thinks she fully said it out loud, because I think at that point they haven't even talked to their mind yet. So she thinks, oh, I must have said that out loud, and I remember being like,
you didn't though.
You really, I mean, per how the book's written, you definitely did not say that out loud. Yeah. That was weird. But then
so I guess this is the example. This is letting us know that he's just able to hear her better.
But if it's like I
guess so.
Because they're so much more closely connected already. I think that with her, it is even more, I don't know, even easier. But it's just not, what we know for sure is it's not like Edward Cullen, who he gets like a running commentary.
Edward Cullen does?
Yes. Of your actual
Well, he can just tune
voice.
into anything and hear your inner voice, yeah.
But it's like comes across in words to him. It's like, oh, I'm tired. I'm done with this class. Or just whatever Twilight is going on.
Whatever Twilight.
But that's what he'd be hearing. But Xaden in that exact scenario would be getting an image of someone being tired and an image of them feeling like,
or their intention of leaving, or
their intention of wanting to take a nap,
yeah,
or whatever. Like, it would be a little different, but it does seem like when he gives you the rundown of that person, it does seem like he does get a lot.
He's getting a lot. That's why I'm saying it's like the way he says I can just sense intentions. I'm like, it's not really a just. There is so much more going on.
Yeah, but I guess
he's also really good at it.
Like we saw that other intrinsic. And how they were, like, again, getting, like,
way too much coming in at them at once.
It was every single thought of anyone around them, and it was just, like, directly
that was
into
the
their
Edward
mind.
Cullen mind reading. Yeah, and unlike Edward Cullen, he couldn't control it.
Yes.
So, but it sounds like also he's honed it really well, where his ability to understand the intention comes into more.
Yeah, so when he first got it probably wasn't super overwhelming or intense, at least in the way that we saw that other guy. It was probably like he would like look at people and try to get an idea about what they were maybe thinking or maybe going to do, and then he had to like work on it to get it this good.
Yeah, imagine like he's in the middle of fighting someone and he suddenly like sees that this guy's about to flip him and he's like, holy crap, you know? Yeah. And then he's like adjusts and he's like, what the heck? But that would not be as overwhelming as just noises in your ears or in your mind all the time. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, definitely not.
Interesting. And then we get this, Taryn growls low in his throat and lowers his head at Sigale as a rush of something bitter and sick floods our bond. Betrayal. So she's feeling his betrayal, but she slams her shields up because she's like, I already have my own betrayal. I can't handle your emotion too.
No.
But she does mention, like, he doesn't know. He didn't know. So that is nice to hear in that way, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, to know that he wasn't keeping this from her.
Yeah. So Taryn's upset. As she mentions later, Mom and Dad are fighting.
Yeah, that was such a funny line.
That was a funny line. But it's not being funny here because we are getting the impact of the emotion.
This was sad. This made me so sad.
Aw. Sigale, is even, like, holding her head high, exposing her throat. She's basically, that's not an apology. You know, it's like saying, here's my throat. If you need to kill me now.
Which would just kill him, too.
So,
maybe
but hey.
Maybe it was Anger.
A good Romeo and Juliet ending.
And then Violet. They all just die on this mountain. Oh my gosh.
Oh Lord. Okay. So yeah. So she's realizing this is kind of what Xaden's doing. He's basically just saying like, okay, here's the data. You could turn me in. He's also offering his throat. You could also
except
kill
for
me.
that she figured it out.
She figured it out. I know, not quite the same. Well, I mean,
the same.
Sigale also didn't just tell Taryn either. So it really, yeah. So Xaden says there are some secrets even mates can't share. So he's responding to Taryn and Sigale.
Yeah,
some secrets
I'm sure he's
that can't
feeling Sigale's side of this, of her being sad or worried or scared.
Or maybe even ashamed.
Yeah.
Guilty.
Yeah.
Some secrets that can't be spoken of even behind the protection of words. And then she's like, and yet you know everyone's secrets, don't you? Everyone's intentions. And then she's thinking this is why they aren't allowed to live, right? Like just how much he could know, you know? Yeah. But she's like, how many times has he read me? How many pre-thoughts has he eavesdropped on? Do I actually love him? Did he just say that I want what I wanted to hear?
I mean, that could be possible.
Sure. Like, so like he's like thinking, like she's thinking like he could be manipulating her by knowing what she wanted.
I mean, he looked okay.
For
like
sure,
he
but
didn't.
Don't question your love for Xaden, Violet.
He didn't do this.
He didn't.
But what he did do is in Arisha the first time when she's really, really mad at him, he's like, but I know we'll get through this because I know you still love me. And he keeps on telling her, I know you love me. I know you still love me.
Yeah, so
But how does he know that? He knows that because of this.
Yeah.
So, sure, he didn't like, okay, she needs this exact thing. I'm going to give her it so that she loves me. But he probably did use his power to help mend the relationship at that point. In a way, how much, I don't know, but at least in that way.
But that's not as guilty to me as, like, because she did love him, and he did love her, and it was just a mending of that. But yeah, he is a 1,000% in the wrong here.
I don't know, I don't think I agree.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I'm sorry, but like it's not like he told anyone else. This was the secret he plans to take to the grave because it's that dangerous. And
no, I don't agree.
Yeah,
they should have told her they were gonna
he
be
said he stopped
mates
using
for
it
life
on her. I don't know.
He could have figured out a way to tell her. Do you think someone's listening in on him talking in their minds? Come on.
No, I know.
And did he not say she's got the best shields of her year?
Right. I don't know. I mean,
I can't in any way make enough justifications as to why it would have been okay for someone that you have bared your soul to, have like you've decided this is your person for life, to keep that kind of secret from you.
But it's not one that affects her in any way. Like, I get that she thinks it does, but it's not a battle axe coming out of an armoire, you know what I mean? Because, like, this isn't something, it's dangerous to him, but do you know what would make it dangerous to her? Telling her. Do you know what would put her in danger? Her knowing this.
Yeah, but then you could have argued that with the whole, her finding out about the revolution as well puts her in danger completely.
Well, no, but that's different because...
And everyone else. This just puts her in danger. No one else is getting put in danger.
No, that's different, though, because that's just clearly the right thing. That everyone has, like, all the good people need to be in the revolution because what's happening is really bad and terrible. But this...
Yeah.
The only way he's using his power is for good because all of his intentions are for good. So he's not doing anything bad with it. He's not using it against her in the way she's fearing he would. And it's so incredibly dangerous.
I don't disagree that it would be very hard to have given up the secret and that there could be a lot of fears connected to it and stuff like that. But I do think he should have.
Well, he kind of was a little bit.
Yeah, and I really think he thinks he should have too and just didn't know how to do it.
Yeah, but he's looking at her thinking, she's too scared to ask me about these smaller things. She literally is not going to be able to deal with something this big. Mm-hmm. She can't even deal with the stuff with her mom.
We could agree to disagree on this because there's nothing, I don't think there's anything that could convince me that he couldn't have figured out a safe way to tell her. She's got great shields. And she also could have used this in so many ways. Knowing this could have helped her in so many ways. You know?
Yeah, maybe Sigel was telling him not to as well.
Yeah, maybe she was like, oh man,
Taryn's
gonna kill me.
Please don't.
So there was so much going on with the shadows, going into shadows, him knowing everything through shadows. I don't think that's true.
You just think straight
up? It was straight up. Do you think he's
hear?
Getting messages through shadows, or that was his excuse? There's also all this prickling, her head prickling when he was like looking at her. I still think that was him reading
using
her
the power. I had guessed that back then too. I was like, if this keeps on being brought up, is that just him like using his powers?
Oh, you said that, and I made some joke, or is it like the shadows tickling her? Yeah, because
brain.
Whatever. I mean, but like that's not ever made clear here. But I think Rebecca Yaros might have even said something. I really want to go back to that. I want to find out.
Whole discussion in the Discord about the shadows hearing things.
Yeah, it is fascinating.
The answer is just no. They actually can't hear anything.
Okay, so here, let's talk about this. So here he says. Okay, so she is thinking, do I love him? Did he just say what I want to hear? Da, 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 da. And then he must pick up something here because he says less than a minute. That's how long it took for you to fall out of love with me.
Says
which is also not true.
Or whatever.
She says, don't read my whatever. And he says, I didn't. First, because your shields were up. And secondly, because I didn't have to. It's all over your face.
Right, so that's why I think that if he could actually be reading her right now, he would know that she's upset, but that she does still love him.
Yeah. And so she's kind of freaking out. He says, say something. And she's like, my love isn't fickle. I like that.
Yeah.
So you'd better live because I'm ready to ask you all the fucking questions.
That was a good line.
Just to finish this conversation a little bit, he does say to her that he stopped reading her after a while.
Yeah.
But yet that prickly scalp thing happens for a while through the first book. So I'm not really sure.
Well, it doesn't happen so much once
Did he say after Resson that he stopped? When did he say?
No, he says... Or I thought it was after the kiss.
After the first kiss, he stopped reading her. But then he does mention that she's sometimes loudly projected. Especially
with their bond already.
Yeah.
Like their minds already being... She would often have her shields down for him already. Even if they were up for other people.
Yeah.
So it was probably just so easy. He would just like look at her and be like, whoops.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, fine. So then Taryn yells, Silver One, mount, wyvern. And they both... like in a heartbeat have turned and sprinted to their dragons, right?
Yes.
Apparently hundreds of wyverns are coming, and I love Violet saying that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So they go flying up in the air, whatever, and he at one point he jolts her a little bit when he like makes a turn, and she's like, a little warning next time. And he's like, did you fall? And that reminded me so much of the meme that's from
Did
I think
you
the
die?
Hangover. I think it's from the Hangover movie where he's like, but did you die?
Yeah.
It's like, no, I didn't fall, but it was a little bit rough, buddy.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I'm already in pain.
she says to him, I'm sorry she didn't tell you. And he said, we will settle matters of emotion after matters of life.
Good to know. Priorities.
Taryn is like, he's got his priorities. He's like, right now we need to live.
And
Emotions
then we
won't
can
matter.
fight with our loved ones.
That's right. So then he says 30 seconds, and she like opens up the archive. She's getting all ready with her power. They see all these, the whole horde coming, and they're slowing down. And she goes, oh my gosh, I count at least a dozen venom. And he says 17.
That's horrifying.
Crazy. So she's like, wow, we're dead if the words aren't up, if I mess up the translation. And then Xaden's like, you didn't. Sounding more confident than she felt. But
yeah,
he's confident in her. She's like thinking about how she's like containing her power. And 3 wyvern break away from the group and fly closer and kind of hover there, right? And it says something about how they have holes peppering through their wings as though they hadn't quite finished forming.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Because we still, at this point, didn't know how they were made. And even later,
and we knew that they were made, not hatched. Like, she has said that. They made them. And we know that their lifeline is attached to their venom.
Which would make sense if the runes inside of them are created by the venom, and it's the venom's power, then when the venom dies, so would the rune.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So
they just made a shit ton
Well, there's a lot of wyverns, so were they just like, okay, guys, make a bunch of wyvern, we need a whole bunch to... I mean, that's just crazy.
That is crazy.
So apparently they can feel the wards. That's what she thinks. And then she notices the rider on the center wyvern. And she it's like kind of dot, 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 like we don't find out what it was right away.
Yeah.
Did you pick up on that?
I said, oh, it's the one from your dreams.
Yeah, and then she says that right away. I mean, she says it like three sentences later, but it is the sage from Ressin who's been taking up residence in her nightmares.
Somehow I didn't realize that was the same one.
The guy in the nightmares?
Was the same one from Ressin.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it was mentioned in the first nightmare.
Probably.
Yeah, that's fine. So she says to Xaden he was in Ressin, and he's like, I know.
Yeah. And then he says
he says, I love you. Even if you believe nothing else I ever say, please believe that. And then Terrence gets mad. Do not speak to her as if death is a possibility.
And then Terrence slams his own shields, an impenetrable wall of black stone blocking out Xaden and Sigale.
Yeah, he literally...
He's mad.
He's like, you're not talking to her.
Up.
Right now we're living. It's amazing.
Gosh.
I think it's the first time he's slammed his shields around her.
Yes,
yeah.
It definitely is. I would have remembered that.
Yeah. It's interesting.
So it's interesting because Xaden's shields are also black, but they're not black stone. They're like black...
Onyx.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She refers to it as onyx, and this is one time is referred to as stone.
Black stone.
Which is interesting because I don't know if it's mentioned.
She imagines her own as bricks.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So he's got a stone wall and she's got brick walls.
Yeah.
Funny.
It is
so the wyvern is like crossing the barrier, and then they're like getting all prepared, and then it just sags and just drops like as if. So now knowing there's a rune in there,
it probably just deactivates
the rune. Yeah,
but it does not really killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she says we should check, and Taryn's like, its heartbeat seized. So Taryn's confidence there was misplaced.
Yeah, they should have checked. But maybe not right then. Checking right then would have been a terrible idea, because then everyone would have known. Yeah, all the rest of the wyverns would have known.
Yeah. So then, that's a good point. Yeah. So she's like, the wards work. Relief restarts my heart.
Sort of, kind of.
Yeah.
It works enough.
Yeah, we know it works to a degree.
I wondered, because she says that they work. And me, looking at this book, I did not think that this confrontation was over right here.
I see.
So I was like, well, maybe it can work for the wyvern, but maybe the sage or the venom can still get through. That's what I was thinking in this moment. Was actually
you
that
thought this was going to be the
work.
big battle of the end of the book?
Yes, I'm waiting for something. Wow. I'm waiting. I mean, Xaden's thing is something, but I'm waiting for like what is this book going to end on? Is it going to be the fight with Navarre? That's what I'm thinking now. Not with Navarre, but like with Navarre. You know.
Yeah, we'll see. That's why I said so much happens in this book. It's not just one long ass battle. There's a lot. Anyways, okay.
Yeah.
So the sage has a mini tantrum and sends the wyvern on the right. But he also falls down, and then Sigale dives for for the creatures to make sure they're dead. Again, they look dead. Their heartbeats aren't beating, so they don't know any better.
Yeah.
So she just like starts to like, light up the sky with lightning.
Violet
and the
does.
sage is like, we're out of here.
Which is terrifying. Like, I don't know why she's not more scared of like hitting Xaden or Sigale. But I guess
she's
Xaden can kind of
this.
kind of block her power.
Yeah, he can. She's getting better at this.
Yeah.
Remember? Like,
yes, I know, but at this like big power aiming thing is a little harder still.
Yeah. So she's like, that's it? And she thinks, how anticlimactic.
Yeah. I agreed. I was like, okay. What?
It's like, now what? And he's like, now we stay long enough to be sure and then go home. So basically they wait a while to make sure nothing else happens.
But I guess they don't talk anymore.
No. And this is 3 more hours of waiting. So remember, this is the same day that she went to the caves and almost
3
got
hours
killed
and they didn't talk anymore about Xaden's mind reading powers when they're out there alone.
Right.
Violet's like, oh, we keep getting interrupted in our fights. Maybe because you're not talking when you have actual good moments to talk. You're like, you know what? Let's finish this discussion in the middle of the meeting with the bar.
Isn't letting her talk.
Actually, that's so fair. He doesn't say that he lowers his words.
He's like,
Taryn's
forget it.
No, fuck those two. We're done.
Yeah.
We're done, Violet.
Yeah. They do arrive back. Rand gives her a hug. She's like, you got the wards up. And she's like, we got the wards up. And then Zane's like, we are needed in the assembly chamber. So she's like kind of thinking that it's hard to feel like celebrating this when she felt like she's lost something precious here,
Oh.
But yeah, and she thinks like there hasn't been a second alone to discuss the fact that if my shields were down, he'd already know how fucked up my head is about the signet he's heading. Although we just talked about the 3 hours.
There has not been a moment. There has been 3 hours, but
That's
there's
so crazy.
not a single moment. What are you talking about?
I never thought about that.
It's funny because Xaden did say they're dead up here, so at least Taryn let the shields down enough for that. But they also could have talked out loud. What did they do for 3 hours there?
I don't know. That's just funny. Okay. So anyways, they head to the assembly chamber and everybody's kind of like half staring at them. Other people are talking, whatever. There's a lot going on. It's not like a meeting. There just seems to be a lot of discussion going on. Serena and Mira come over to her. Xaden's like, we need to find time to talk because those 3 hours didn't matter. And then,
was there other people there? Is that
well,
why?
It does say they wait another 3 hours before flying back, long enough for Suri to arrive and tell us of the other instance. So she's on her way to them. So possibly
that's probably why.
Taryn says
they're in range or they're closer now.
Yeah, like someone's coming this way. One of the other dragons or something like that. It's possible. And
I mean, that has to be it because it says they don't have a moment, like a good moment. It must not be a good moment because Suri is there.
Yeah.
So that has to be the explanation because
that's the only way it would make any
otherwise
sense.
This is ridiculous. And she must be keeping her shields up pretty firmly around him right now because of this.
Yeah. Yeah, so apparently as soon as the attack was over, a missive was delivered to Ulysses and that Melgren is asked to meet with him tomorrow. He requested whomever represents our movement, Jesus, no more than 2 marked ones allowed.
I cannot believe they followed this rule.
Right.
You're requesting this meeting? You cannot set all of the terms. We do not listen to you.
I don't know. Did they they hid some dragons and extra people in the back?
No, but Melgren says he could predict what was going to happen. So they must not have more with them.
Interesting.
I just thought I could not believe that they followed this rule.
Yeah, so fascinating.
They could have been like, yeah, we'll show up, but we're going to bring every single mark. No, that'd be dumb. But like, why would we let you? He has
no right to demand that.
Because that basically means that I'll only let you guys come meet me. The meeting that I'm requesting, if I know during this meeting we would win in a fight. Good, that makes me feel super safe to come meet with you.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What? This was so stupid. Anyways.
Also, who is so powerful that that crew would win in a fight against Xaden and Violet?
Maybe like only because they were beefing right now and they would work perfectly together.
Probably. So he also wants Violet and Mira. And then she's like, you can say no. This is Mira's talking. You should say no. And then Violet's like, why would the commanding general of all Navarian forces ask for a cadet and a lieutenant? Oh, our mother will be there. Yes.
Right.
And then Mira says, and if a fight breaks out, we know it ends in his favor. Otherwise, he would never summon us. He's already seen the outcome.
Yeah, which is why it's like, okay, I cannot believe
that's kind of dumb.
This.
Especially with them being absolutely showing no interest in listening to anything he says, basically.
Yeah.
It's funny.
My exact note was, you can't set these shitty rules anymore. But then they just, like, follow them. And I was like, okay.
That's funny. And, yeah. Serena says there's something else you need to know. With a flick of her wrist, the dagger rises a few inches and spins around when she twirls her index finger.
Yeah.
And that makes Violet realize that they can still wield. And Serena's like, yep, as glad as I am not to be stripped of my powers, I'm sorry to say there's something wrong with your wards. And then Violet thinks, fuck. And then we end that chapter
that ends with fuck. Oh, it is.
So the last chapter ended with fuck.
Yes. Rebecca likes doing that.
Yeah.
It's a good ending.
All right, guys, we're going on to chapter 57. This is going to be a longer episode, if you haven't figured that out by now. Blurb in the top. The day Augustine Melgren manifested his signet changed warfare for the kingdom of Navarre forever. And that's the Navarre, an unedited history, which obviously was edited by Colonel Louis Markham.
I know. I thought the same. I didn't make a note, but I was like, well, if it was made by Markham,
it's edited.
It's at least edited inside his own mind. Maybe he didn't edit it after he wrote it.
That's true. So the history was written already edited. Okay, so they're meeting in Athabine.
Ironic.
Very ironic. And that's not lost on Violet, as she says here. And she's like, also, it's the second time I'm visiting this outpost after finding out Xaden has hidden pertinent information from me.
Yeah.
She's never going to go back to this place.
She's like, I hate this place.
She's like, never again. Anyway, so apparently she spent last night in the library with, like, Dane, but not in that way, and other people because she was still trying to figure out what's going on with the war.
Okay, so she actually hasn't really had a rest then, because she hasn't slept.
She did sleep because she says she woke up with, like, an ancient test.
Fine. Let's say she slept an hour in the library.
Yeah.
And what happened yesterday was getting attacked by Solus and then kind of fighting Wyvern and then fighting Xaden.
Yeah. She really didn't want to go back to bed. She didn't need... She actually... He's like, let's talk later. And she's like, no.
No, thanks.
Stays completely away from him. She says, I can recognize that telling me whether or not he wanted to was the ultimate gesture and trust. So that's good. And this time I'm not the last to know. I'm the first. Maybe it makes me completely, utterly foolish, but somehow that makes a difference, even if I haven't had the opportunity to tell him that. Or the opportunity to interrogate his ass about how many of my intentions he's read.
Yes, which seems like she will do it then.
Yeah. So she is, you can see right here that she's mad, but at the same time she's also, she does fully
know that she's going to forgive him.
Yeah.
It seems.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is fine. Honestly, like, if she decided right here, now, not in the book, because that would be, like, stupid for how this book is going, but pretending that these were real people in real life, if she decided right here, like, I don't think I could be in a relationship with you anymore, because I just can't keep going through this. Like, I am not ready to deal with all of that is you because of these things that keep happening. Yeah. I wouldn't be mad at her for that. I'm mad at her because she's like, well, I know he loves me and I love him, but I'm not going to do any work to fix, like, these problems that we're having. But also I'm mad at him because he's not doing any work to fix these problems that we're having. So we're both not going to do any work, but then I'm mad at him about it.
Okay. Yeah. Fine. I get it. I see it differently. But I don't see it. I see it in several ways. And also I do still think this is a battle axe coming out of that armoire. I mean, how many times are you going to be knocked over by something so crazy?
Probably the last time. If there's a third time, then that's it.
Yeah.
We got to kill Xaden.
Okay, good. So anyways, so they have arrived. It's a riot of 10 that lands in the clearing. And it does say that 4 of the dragons back into the cover of the forest immediately, hiding in the shelter of the trees. So we know there's 4 people there that they didn't, maybe they're just being kept as reserve in case something happens, right?
Yeah.
And she asks Taryn if he's sure that they won't be able to tell they're there. And he's like, not exactly, but there's no snow, to carry tracks. And dragons only sense each other mind to mind when we allow it. As long as they stay downwind, the others will know they're here, but won't be able to identify how many or who's come.
That must be that thing of, like, when they say that the dragons vouch for their riders during the beginning of everyone separating.
Mm-hmm. They must open their minds to each other.
And when they do, then you can't hide it.
Yeah.
Although, again, Sigale did hide this, so still seems questionable.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, Darna has been left behind and had a little tantrum because they wouldn't take her. They didn't want to have to try to explain Darna to these guys because they're still not ready to give up that secret, you know?
No, of course not, because we don't trust these guys.
Exactly. And also, apparently, she, like, cursed Taryn's entire family line and then blocked us both out. And Taryn's only response had been a muttered how do you say that?
Expletive?
About the moods of adolescence.
That's very funny.
Also, Sigale is standing somewhere else, not next to Taryn. And then it says, Mom and Dad are fighting, and everyone knows it.
Yeah, that was so funny. That, like, actually made me laugh.
Yeah. So Xaden comes up to her, says, you didn't come to bed last night. And she's like, I was in the library with Dane poring over Warwick's journal to see what I got wrong. We both fell asleep on the tables until Jasenia and a few others joined us for more study. So they fell asleep and then got woken up again for more study. And then she's, he's whatever. They're having a little small talk here about, like, Jasenia doesn't speak Old Lucerus. Sawyer's smitten. They wanted to help, whatever. And even Kat and Marin and Traeger joined in a show of support. Hey, Kat is supporting them.
Yes, they have become just squad. I wouldn't say friends, but they've become squad mates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he asks if she found anything, and she's like, no. Oh, here it is. So she says no, and then she's thinking the line. The breath of life of the 6 and the 1 combined, and set the stone ablaze in an iron flame. And she's like, what did I miss?
Right. So the only thing about this line that before, when it was first brought up, even with the wrong translation, I said, well, who is the 1? Like, I wrote in my notes, who's the 1?
Yeah.
And then Violet says, oh, well, the 1 is the stone. And I went, okay, the 1 is the stone. But knowing that it's wrong.
But it also says the breath of life of the 6 and the 1.
Which
the stones...
make you...
Like, well, that
unless you
depends
mean
on how you're doing
is being imbued.
Right.
Is that the breath of the...
Is that the breath
life
of the stone? Yeah.
Who knows? Because this language is weird. But I wonder if there's the 1, because I keep on, throughout this book, I did keep on thinking, I bet you Violet's power, because she has the same power that can kill the wyvern.
Yeah.
And the venom. Her power is unlike any other signet. It's not just lightning, it's pure power.
Mm-hmm.
And I wondered if that was a part of raising the wards. I wondered that multiple times, but then it seemed like it wasn't. But anyways, I still wonder, is she the 1? Was one of the 6? Do we know all of the first 6 powers? Do we know if one of them potentially had the same power as Violet?
Right. And we know that she's missed something.
We know that she's missed something.
Yeah.
And the other option I wonder about the 1 is if it still has to do with eggs or hatching or something. But I just don't know how that would be relevant. Like, they would never put a hatchling in danger particularly. But this is... Wait, so is this where that thing becomes relevant? Because if they have to redo the wards a second time, well, then they couldn't use those same 6 dragons.
Right.
That would make sense how that thing is relevant to the story. Because if they have to, like, start from the beginning, like, it's not like, oh, no, we have to add this one thing.
Yeah. Unless it's just an adding, or is it a redo?
If it's a redo, then it would make sense. Oh, shit, now we need 6 new dragons.
Yeah, interesting. So that leaves you just questioning, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's like, thanks for not talking me out of coming. And he's like, I learned my lesson at Corden. Then he asks for her to let him in, like, through the bond. And so she does just a little bit. Well, she thinks to herself here, she's like, exactly how much of this is mine to forgive? It's his secret. But I can't help wondering how much he's read into my own intentions. So she is looking at this somewhat logically, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So she's still, like, trying to figure out whether she's going to let him in or not, but she does lower her shields a little bit, and he says, if you decide to tell them what I am as punishment for the crimes I've committed against you, I'll understand.
And I wrote, I won't understand. The fuck? Break up with him, but don't fucking kill him.
I know, that's like such an ass. Like, that's like, I don't know. I would literally roll my eyes and walk away at that moment.
I'd be like, if you're gonna be dramatic, I'm not having a conversation with you right now.
Go have your tantrum somewhere else. What the fuck?
Obviously, that's not what she's gonna do, but he must be stressing so hard because since the moment he told her, she's blocked him out so thoroughly that he doesn't know. He couldn't even use his power if he wanted to see what she's gonna do. So I'm sure that he's just been sitting there, but like, that's it. She's going to tell everyone because he has no idea.
And he does feel bad. He feels guilty too.
Yeah, also the crimes committed against you. I'm sorry. Like, it's just, that's really dramatic. Again.
I know, this is fully dramatic.
You haven't been like the most perfect boyfriend, but like, whatever. At the first year of anyone's relationship, the most perfect from both sides? I don't think so.
Yeah,
that's
you
like
have to get
figuring
through that.
It out.
Yeah, for sure.
You can figure it out nicely, but you'd still have to figuring it out. So... whatever. Anyways, that was just so dramatic.
Yeah. She says, you want to discuss this now of all times. And he says, I wanted to discuss this last night, but apparently you were too busy working to save Tyrandor. And she's like, are you complaining? And he's like, about you choosing the safety of my home over fighting with me? No.
But maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
That was funny too.
And then Mira starts to come, right, towards them. And so she's like, I need to know something. Did you ever use your signet to glean information to influence my feelings in any way? And he said, never. But I have always lacked a certain element of self-control when it comes to, and our bond makes it way too easy for you to send your intentions without even realizing it.
Right, so that makes it sound like, yes, he did try to stop after a certain point.
Yeah.
But one, sometimes he'd probably give in.
Yeah.
Like when they were fighting, I'm guessing, and he was feeling very worried that their relationship was over, he probably gave in during those moments.
Well, yeah. Also, like, when she's in those moments, her shields probably are thinner or whatever. And so then if her intention is just shot at him, it might be hard to miss it, yeah.
But I think he's kind of saying two things, I feel like. He's saying, one, I lack self-control. And two, the bond makes it really easy for you to send it without realizing it.
Yeah, I duplicate that, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Taryn's like, I could torch him if you'd like, but you do seem attached.
It's also very funny.
I know. And then she thinks, oh yeah, you noted this. Like, she was reminded of the times her scalp would prickle in his presence. See, I'm telling you, that was him reading her intentions.
I mean, it pretty much
it says it right
in
there.
the
Yeah,
book. Yeah.
She said, you knew I wanted to kiss you that night by the wall. And then she's like embarrassed about this, which is funny. They've had sex in all the different ways right by now. Why are you embarrassed?
Yeah, this does seem kind of funny to be embarrassed by, but also,
but she's remembering her first.
I think
time.
It was pretty clear that you knew he wanted to kiss you too.
And he says yes, and you have my most sincere apology. Had I known what we would become, then he shakes his head. Fuck, I probably would still have done it.
Yeah.
And she says, do you still do it? And he says, no, I stopped the moment you were more to me than the general's daughter. The moment I realized the harm Dane had done. So this is not when he kissed her.
No, but that's confusing because the moment you're more than the general's daughter would have been when he fell in love with her, right?
No.
Not particularly. Okay.
No. But he says the moment I realized the harm Dane had done. So it has to be at the end of the first book.
Yeah, that was so interesting because do you remember that when he turns to Violet and he goes, did Dane touch you? And then he seems to know the answer before she even answers it.
Yeah.
So he was...
Well, and she said something about like he maybe wouldn't have meant to. He says something... All I remember is that Xaden's response is like not particularly because and the way he says
he wouldn't have read my mind. He always touches me like that.
Like yeah, but there's something was said that he responds to that you can tell at that moment, knowing this, that he knows what it's like, and that she says I would have been able to tell, and he says no, you wouldn't have.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
Yeah, and so that's him because he's like no, sorry, Violet, I've been doing it this whole time, and you didn't tell.
That's why he knows what Dane's signet was when it was a classified signet, and.
Other things too, like he just knew so much.
He just always seemed to know everything.
Yeah, and he said, what a great reason.
The shadows.
I think that was a great explanation, and people believed it.
Yes, it was believable enough.
Yes,
I agree with that.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Anyways, so after he said that about when he stopped doing it, she thinks, except Xaden hadn't... She's thinking about the Dane betrayal. She says Xaden hadn't brokered the information he'd stolen and been responsible for killing Liam. Oh my God, Liam and Soleil. I was anticipating having to say her name again. And she's like, yeah, I've made some kind of peace with Dane, haven't I? Yeah. Yes. So she's realizing, like, this wasn't as big. This wasn't putting everyone in danger like
that's
Dane.
That's what I'm kind of saying. It's like he's only using it for good and he's not using it against her.
And I was saying it only took her 24 hours to have to go through. I mean, when you're mad, you're mad. You don't think about, like, how many times have you decided to take a walk or whatever when you're mad,
And hasn't slept.
Yeah.
And she's going through a lot.
There's a lot going on.
It's fine that she needed time, but if she really held this grudge like she did the last one, which I also, that one for real, like way more than this one, I was like, Violet.
Yeah, I was too.
Why would he tell you this? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But also knowing that he could have read her mind, that I'm like, okay, well actually, except for the Dane thing, he fully could have told her.
He could have. There's so much when you read the series again, knowing that he is intrinsic through the first two books, you're like, there's a lot of what? Wait, why? Now we do know that he can't read everybody.
Yeah, because if they have their shields up.
Yeah. So it's kind of, there is that going on. But okay, we got to keep going. We don't have a lot of time here. So she says, I'm not going to turn you in, but we'll be fighting about this later. And he's like, I will make myself available to you.
That was cute.
And then Mira's like, are you ready for this? Because she finally reaches them. And Violet's like, no, are you? And she's like, no. But she'll never know that. And then Violet says, I want to be you when I grow up.
I know, that was
so cute.
Also adorable.
Very adorable. And she's like, you'll be better than me. And then she looks at Xaden and says, by the way, you couldn't convince him to stay in Orisha. Did you understand what that meant when she said that? Oh, wait. Do you still not understand what that means?
Wait, hold on. Who says it? Who says it?
Mira looks over the top of her head to talk to Xaden. She says to Xaden, by the way, you couldn't convince him to stay in Orisha. And he says, I don't wield emotions, and members of the assembly don't take well to being tied down and restrained. Did you think that she was talking to Violet here and they were talking about Xaden?
I don't remember what I thought.
Okay,
I
so
did
you
know.
didn't. You just
I was
obviously
surprised.
didn't pick up on this.
I was surprised by Brennan being there. If
Yeah,
that's what you're asking.
This is her saying
him being
Brennan, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I either misunderstood who was talking to who, or I was just more invested in other things going on to pay enough attention to that.
Yeah. And so it's funny here, he's saying, I don't wield emotions, and he says, if you're looking to influence mind work, find a flyer. And she thinks, like, she's barely keeps herself from jabbing him, like, elbowing him, you know, at his clever semantics, because the man clearly specializes in mind work.
I know, that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Anyway, so the people have arrived, Melgren and other people, right? It's like several people that she doesn't recognize. There's some aides, some of her mom's aides, and of course her mom, right? She's actually, like, as she's looking, she's telling Xaden about them. She says, Colonel Fremont, second to the left, is a very powerful air wielder. He can suck the air straight out of your lungs. I thought that was fascinating.
That is horrifying and amazing.
Yeah. I didn't think about that. I'm thinking air wielder. I'm thinking, like, blowing people away, you know?
Yeah.
But that's, like, he's actually wielding air, taking it out of your lungs. Amazing. And then he thanks her for that. And then he, like, brings up these shadows. Her mom's there walking next to Melgren, looking between her and Mira, right? She mentions that she looks really exhausted. And then Mira, of course,
having to, I don't know. I mean, they kind of say how much work they've been put under recently, but I wonder if she's also just, like,
I think she's
very stressed about them.
Her kids, yeah.
And also maybe dealing with a little bit of backlash because she went around. Did she or did she not get approval to go around to all the outposts?
That's the question, right?
And be like, yeah, no, just whoever wants to leave, just go now.
That's the question, I know.
Because, like, maybe she's in a little bit of trouble.
It's possible.
Or having to, like, play this, like, both sides thing a little bit and is, like, really hard on her.
Yeah. There's a mention of Melgren's dragon here and a reminder of how intensely large he is.
And how Taryn cannot... no, it's not reminded here, but we know that Taryn is not confident in his ability.
5 feet taller than Taryn. Which I like the fact, like, it's always like, you know, like, I don't know. There's something nice about the main character not having the biggest, baddest dragon.
Yeah,
like,
just
a big,
second.
bad dragon, but, like, yeah, just a second. But it's nice to at least have a little bit, you know?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's like, it's always a little bit, like, kind of, like, predictable, and it's like every female main character ends up with the best power and the biggest dragon or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Feyre ends up with every single power.
Yeah, every single power. Like, not just the best. Taryn is definitely protecting Violet. He's like, his head is above her, and she says, don't drool on me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there they are. They come together. Melgren's like basically saying, here, I was thinking you were dead, Ulysses. And Ulysses is like, here, I was hoping you were. So nice. So nice. They're like, why aren't we meeting at the outpost? I have refreshments. And then Taryn's like, yeah, probably poisoned.
Probably. I mean, they can't be making those signet blocking drinks for good reasons.
Right? Anyways, they're like, yeah, we don't want to go there. So they're like, just, you know, whatever, speak now. So Melgren looks at Xaden and says, we never should have let you into the quadrant.
Oh, yes. And then suddenly I was like, okay, well, my first thought was, oh my gosh, Xaden totally used his Antisnic power to broker that deal with her mom. Like, it makes sense how he could make this amazing deal and make it work in his favor. And then I was like, wait, nope, he hadn't bonded yet. He hadn't been let in the Writer's Quadrant yet. That was just his own ability to do that. And then I was like, well, then it makes so much sense that he would end up with a power like this because it comes from the writer, and he was already so good at taking these situations and being like, turning it in his favor, basically.
Yeah, that's a good thought. It's a very good thought. Xaden's reaction, his response to Melgren is, regrets are truly a bitch, aren't they? Let's get to it. You may have nothing better to do with your day, but we're busy fighting for our continent. And then Melgren's like, nothing better. Do you know the destruction you caused by dropping those wyvern on the outpost? The lengths we went to in order to keep it quiet? The civilians we had to... And then he cuts himself off.
Are you
How many people did they kill?
Are you joking? You'll kill the fucking civilians, but not the venom.
Unless they're obliviating them, which I know is a Harry Potter term, but you know what I mean? Like,
maybe they have a signet that can do that.
Well, we know that, what's her name, can, right?
She can steal Imogen.
Yeah, so she could go and take away the certain memories.
I guess, but I'm like, if you are getting to the point that you're killing civilians, maybe just tell them. Have you thought about just telling them? Maybe just tell them. You don't even have to tell them the full truth. You can still tell them, like, a lie. Like,
I know.
We have no way to possibly fight these guys. There's nothing we could do. So
the fact that
we're
he
just protecting
stops
ourselves.
himself on the sentence of civil,
Disgusting.
I think they killed him.
Disgusting.
I would like to be like convincing myself that they're just erasing their memories, but I don't think they're doing that.
This is literally, it's like, do you know how much effort we had to put into to not
He's like,
be helping? You're putting in all this effort. Imagine putting that effort into instead fighting the fucking venom.
and letting everybody know what's really
the
happening so they
Promish
can all...
citizens in or anything.
There's no logic to keeping everybody in the quiet on this.
This
but,
is ridiculous.
I mean, their logics don't make sense.
No.
He says, you almost tore down centuries of work of tightly woven defensive strategy designed to protect the people within our borders. And I wanted to say, good.
That was the most political, like, that doesn't
Bullshit
even mean
line.
anything.
Yeah.
This tightly woven defensive strategy. What? That's
What?
You're just
Yeah.
saying nonsense words.
Yeah.
Like, what are you?
Well,
talking
Mira's
about?
like, yeah, only the people within your borders. Fuck everyone else, right? And her mom's eyes flash. And it's funny, it says with barely least reprimand, but I wonder if it was, or if it was, yeah, I wonder if they misread their mom a lot here, because we know, I don't know, we don't know anything about her. We just know that she really does love her kids.
But she also thought not telling them not fighting
Yeah.
was the best way to protect them. So
Yeah.
maybe she thinks that
She's
of the
unapologetic
civilians.
about it. She's just like, listen, I did what I had to do. And I can respect her a little bit for that. But I
I feel like we need to know more about
feel
her.
like we do too, yeah.
Maybe that's what the book's about.
The new one coming
Yeah.
out? Yeah, there you go. So Melgren's like, yes, when you abandon ship in the middle of a hurricane, you save those you can in the dinghy and then cut the hands off anyone else who tries to climb aboard so they don't pull you under.
I'm sorry, but did you ever go into the middle of the hurricane one time? Maybe. Maybe we just don't know about it. But it sounds like you saw the hurricane and was like, no, thank you.
Yeah, and also, did you also put a hole in every other rescue dinghy
Yes.
out there so it can sink? Because that's what you're doing.
Yes.
You're not just saving the few, you're also
like,
sinking the extra rafts.
It doesn't seem like they actually did put up a fight. Or
Yeah,
it was
I don't
so
know.
long ago.
I don't know. I mean, this was, yeah. They've been keeping this going for 600 years. That's how long this lie's been going, because that's when the unification happened, when they brought everybody together and put the wards up 600
Right.
years ago.
Yes.
So it's been a 600-year lie, so
what
they've
were they
convinced
doing before
themselves by
But
that.
it's just so ridiculous. Why couldn't you put up the ward? I get putting up the wards. Perfect. Makes perfect sense. Next, you invite all of the other civilians into your country.
Yeah, why did they give them just one
And
year?
then-
Why do you have to stop at a year?
You leave the boards.
Oh. But
the
what
wards.
if we did learn that the initiates can not be recognizable? So maybe that not letting new people in is for fear of letting Venom in initiates.
Yeah, I did forget about that.
Yeah, it's easy to forget about that. Okay, let's keep going.
Still, you could have done something.
Yeah, no, they're not right.
Violet did something.
Violet did something. She sure did. Anyways, so Xaden's like, are we here for a reason, besides the evil villain lecture? It's usually called a
Love that.
villain monologue, but that's okay. Melgren's like, we let you go. Let you take half the Rider Quadrant cadets without so much as a fight. Let her go. Looking at Violet.
Because of her power.
I guess so. After she brutally murdered the vice commandant,
Oh.
ever stopped to think why? And Xaden's like, personally, I try not to think about you. And then Ulysses is like, you can't afford to lose the riders necessary to fight us. We're too expensive to keep, especially with the number of riders who chose to leave you. Melgren's like, perhaps I let you. Perhaps I knew we'd need you for a coming battle, which is very possible. This guy is a really good strategist.
I mean, he literally has to be, but is
Yeah.
that... I mean, they say that we let you guys go, but
in a way.
a bunch of people weren't even at Biscayeth
No, but
when
let
they went.
maybe like once
didn't
they
pursue
took off,
you?
they didn't pursue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so basically he's saying like, they're going to overrun us at Samara. I've seen it. They come for us on Solstice and they win. And she's like, and Violet's thinking, shit, this isn't good. If Samara falls, if any of the outposts do, the wyvern would have unfettered access to parts of Navarre that the ward extensions have protected for the last 600 years, right?
Right.
So Ulysses is like, how? And then right here, she says to Xaden, forget feeling guilty about reading my intentions and please read theirs. He's already done it because he instantly responds, everyone but the major on the right is shielded, but she's scared shitless and intends to do whatever she needs to do to get us to agree. And she wants to eat after this meeting and argue with your mother over her supposed affection for her daughters. Now put your shields up and block me and everyone else out.
Yeah, so again, like, that's showing, like, he's seeing more than just one thing. He's seeing a lot.
He's getting feelings and emotions with his intentions.
Yes. So
it's a little more than just intentions.
Yeah. But I guess it's just like, what is intention? The word, it's just such a vague word.
Yeah.
Does
And
your
he's also
intentions
had
have
3
emotions?
years to work on this.
Yes.
So he's gotten really good. And she thinks, holy shit, no wonder Intensics aren't allowed to live. Xaden is both a jaw-dropping weapon and a frightening liability. Melgren's like, how? Because Ulysses asked how it's going to happen. He says, how isn't how it works. All that matters is that we lose on solstice. And Ulysses is like, if you've already seen the outcome, then what the hell do you expect us to do about it? Melgren's like, change the outcome by fighting our side. In the battle I see, none of you are there. Because he wouldn't be able to see it if Xaden...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, he must not be able to see if they show up. Kind of like if the werewolves show up in Twilight, then Alice can't see what's going to happen.
Exactly. It's just like Alice and the Werewolves.
Yeah.
This is great.
Can you tell
I love getting all this Twilight.
We're going to do a Twilight panel in September, so we're
we're going to be... Did we mention that already?
I don't think so.
At the Tampa Bay Comic Con, Brianna and I are doing 2 panels. One is a Percy Jackson panel, and one is a Twilight panel, because a bunch of the Twilight actors are going to be there.
Yeah.
So we decided to go with the theme of Twilight.
So now instead of making 100 Harry Potter references, get ready for 100 Twilight references.
I have to watch all the movies again, which is very sad. Anyways, okay, so Violet's feeling very conflicted here. She's like, because Ulysses is like, we don't fly for you. And she's saying, who do we fly for? Not just Orisha or even Turandor, right? If we're willing to fight to defend the civilians of Peromil, why wouldn't we fight to defend Navarians, right? And her mom's even saying, well, you do fly for the Empyrean. Dragonkind won't stand aside if the hatching grounds and the Vale are compromised.
Right.
Which Taryn doesn't agree with this in a way, because he's like, your mother is presumptuous to speak on behalf of Dragonkind.
Well, yes, they don't like when anyone speaks on Dragonkind, although you could assume she could be getting information from her dragon.
Yeah.
But also, that's not the case, because what do we know about the wards?
Yeah, well, she says Violet says one outpost won't take down the entire system. Yeah. Right? And also, they have their own young to, what's it called, hatching grounds to worry about, too.
Yeah, the rebellion dragons do.
Yeah. Yeah, a little almost fight comes up here because one of the captains is like all mad, like, you're proud of taking down our whatever. I don't know. He's getting mad about something here. It doesn't really matter. And Xaden's like, no, I'd hate to lose the spirit of civility. Wouldn't you? We were getting along so nicely.
Yeah, and he knocks the sword out of his
hand with his shadows.
Especially because it says he points the sword at Violet.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, he's so cool. Xaden's just so cool.
Yeah, and this captain says, goddamn traitor to Xaden. Says, Malik will meet you for your crimes. And then Xaden says, tried that. He didn't want me or any of us, remember? And then scratches his relic.
Even better.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. So is he saying that because no one tried to kill them, the kids?
I don't know.
I've heard other people say that they tried to kill the kids at this moment, but in all that he talks about, it never says that. It says that they watched that they were going the execution.
To do it. I felt like from listening to Xaden's explanation of how he got the relic, that perhaps they were going to kill the kids next, and when this relic popped up on them, and Melgren, who was right there,
he couldn't see what the outcome
all of a sudden couldn't see. Yes, he kind of got scared and was like, we didn't know that killing the parents was going to activate this. What would happen if we kill them? I don't know. I can't see what would happen. What if it activates something worse? Yeah. And just decided not to. And that's why Xaden was able to make this deal.
Yes, because there was some discussion on whether they should live or not. That's for sure. We know that, so maybe that's all he's referring to.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, he even... So Melgren's saying, I don't expect you to ally with us. I just fight with us in this occasion. And then King Tari would respect the independence of Uriah and the city you've taken refuge in.
Which would mean the Xaden would be king.
Oh, right.
I just want to say, right? Because if he says...
if it's an independent city at that point, yeah.
That's what he's saying.
So it sure sounds like it.
So Xaden would be king of Orisha.
Yeah, we know what Kat would say if she was standing here. She'd be like, take it!
And then take me! But anyways, because we talked about, like, how is it possible for Kat to ever get a crown via Xaden? This right here, this would be it.
Yeah.
Not that seems like it's not going to happen, but...
Right. Well, anyways, Ulysses has basically said, no, we're going to set this one out. And we're going to leave. And Violet's a little bit like, wait, we're leaving? And she's like, throughout this whole thing, she's still maybe waiting for Xaden to say something. You know what I mean? Because he's only other assembly member there right then. Yeah. But at this point, the color drains from her mom's face as she looks between Mira and her. And it's Brennan. Yeah. And Brennan says, we rule by committee. And I think I'm safe in speaking for the quorum when I say we do not defend kingdoms who sacrifice neighboring civilians. See, I'm on Violet's side here. They're basically saying we're going to sacrifice your civilians because you sacrifice our civilians, which is not even our civilians because they're Navarians. But anyways, it is a little bit like you hurt me, I'm hurting you. Like, it doesn't make sense.
I do keep on waiting for... I mean, we don't know because of how this chapter ends, but I'm like, maybe when she gets back, I think I wrote a note somewhere here, maybe at the end. Yeah. closing thoughts. But maybe, I don't know, I just keep on thinking that when she gets back, they're going to be like, okay, yeah, we did all that, but that was just like for a show, or that's because we wanted to have a real discussion, not in front of them, or
something.
Because I'm like, there's no way. And then I'm like, if for real, they're like, no, we're actually not going to help them. I'm like, well, now Violet's going to have to start a rebellion inside the rebellion. She's going to have to take her squad.
How many rebellions are we doing?
They're going to have to go because you can't. You are doing the same thing.
You can't. Yeah, you're
those
literally
civilians,
opening all those civilians up to death at this
They
point,
do not deserve that.
Yeah.
Just like they don't deserve to be killed by Melgren either. But they can't quite take down Navarre fully yet, so at least save their citizens. It's not okay. Anyways, we'll see what happens. I hope something good.
Brennan continues saying, like, he says, like, you know, like, we don't defend kingdoms who sacrifice neighboring civilians, let alone their own children, so they can hide safely behind their wards. So he's like,
yes,
that's a needle to his mom. And then he says, you will not escape the suffering you force the rest of the continent to endure.
Which,
and then
again,
mom
like,
at this point,
kind of fair. Like, it's kind of fair.
It's fair, but at the same time, if it was just
but it's
them,
not them. It's not even them. They'll be fine. They'll just be safe.
There's civilians that don't even know what they're being sacrificed for at this point.
And all of leadership will just stay at Basgiath and be safe behind the wards. They'll move the king within that 4-hour range.
Right, they can't fit everybody there. So a lot of civilians, innocent people will die.
Yes.
But all here, this whole time, what's her name? Lilith is in shock. She, like, I'm sure her whole system has shut down.
Yeah.
And she just says, Brennan? Whispers it. And then Mira's like, for fuck's sake, Brennan. And then Brennan says, when all 3 of your children stand against you, perhaps the time has come for self-reflection. This meeting is officially over. Your hatching grounds are not in danger, and our riot has her own to protect now. I mean this with every fiber of my body. We deny your offer of peace and happily accept a war, since it sounds like you won't survive another 2 weeks to fight it. And then he leaves. Oh. And then Xaden's like, right, if I were you, I'd try calling on the allies who helped win the Great War in the first place. Oh, wait, you can't. You cut off contact with them centuries ago. Anyways, she glances up at him and then, like, tries to mask her surprise. And she's like, they're really going to leave them to die? We are going to leave them to die?
And I was like, okay, well, maybe their plan is just to get all the civilians out somehow. I don't know how they would do that. But I can't. I just can't believe that this is true. Just like Violet can't.
Yeah. Well, Melgren and the rest of the crew leave, and they, like, basically say, like, you have some time with your daughters to Lilith, and then they leave.
It's kind of surprising that they give her this.
Yeah.
I guess they're not too mad at her.
I don't think they're that mad at her. Maybe it was part of the thing to let people go. Maybe there was something to it. Who knows? Xaden's still there, and the 2 girls, Violet and Mira, and then Mom, right? And she's like, he's alive? And then Mira's like, obviously. And then Violet's like, he's the one who mentored me after I took a venom blade in my side. And she's like, you've known for months? And then Mira's like, it's appalling to be left in the dark, isn't it, Mom? To feel lied to, perhaps even betrayed by your own family, no less. And Violet's, she's such the peacemaker. She's like, she can feel her mom's pain here.
Yeah.
And she's like, Mira, she kind of like chastises her, you know?
I know, but, like, I think Mira has a point.
I mean, she's not wrong. But still, it's cute that Violet is trying to, like, be like, let's not
like her mom was...
I mean, we've got, it's like kicking a dog that's already down right now.
Yeah, but her mom seems so willing to let Brennan die for this lie.
So I was wondering about that because Brennan said the same thing. How did she let him die for the lie? Because she sent him to war?
Yeah, to fight a war that he doesn't even know the truth of.
Yeah, from that aspect, yes, of course. So Mira says she sacrificed you too, Violet. Maybe she put you into the Rider's Quadrant to save you from being killed as a scribe once you learned the truth. Or maybe she did it to kill you before you could learn the truth and tear her precious war college to the ground.
Those were my 2 options.
Those were the 2 options you gave from the beginning. She's like, it's either this or it's this.
Which are very opposite things.
Anyways, the mom then straightens up and she says, I need a word with my daughters. And then they have Xaden leave, right?
Yeah.
And then she says, I'm not sure that it matters at the moment, but what I want most, what I've always wanted, is for my children to live. Whatever wards you've raised from the instructions in Warwick's journal will fail. And then she says, cut open the bodies of the wyvern who died crossing your border yesterday. And they're like, huh? She's like, why ever would you think I'd be ignorant of activities on your border, Violet? Ignorant of where my daughter, and then she stops herself, children are.
How is
she finding out
this? Spies?
What is going on? I don't know.
Is Jack Barlow a ghost?
What is Jack Barlow doing?
I'm just waiting for him to be relevant.
Yeah. You remember what the carcasses of the wyvern looked like at Samara, the ones Ryerson so kindly delivered? Mira nods. The stones used to create them were nothing but cold marked rocks. And then Violet's like, stones? Do dark wielders have runes?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, so then the mom says, check the wyvern you killed yesterday and fix your wards. And she says, if you don't, they'll decline over the time to nothing. Your father told me once that his research showed that Warwick never wanted anyone else to hold the power of the wards. He wanted Navarre to eternally hold the upper hand, but Lyra thought the knowledge should be shared. And then so Violet's like realizing, okay, Warwick lied.
Yeah, these are the things that at the top of that chapter when it was like nothing kills love faster than opposing ideologies or whatever. This is definitely those two.
Yeah, probably.
Definitely.
So Lilith hands them Lyra's journal, which I'm sure is not in any agreement with anybody. Like, there's no way.
No, she's definitely doing this secretly.
She is 100% doing this secretly.
Yes.
So, and she says to Violet something I really like. She says, you have the heart of a writer, but the mind of a scribe, Violet. I'm trusting you not only to protect yourself, but to protect Mira and Brennan.
Yeah.
But it's Moranian. She can't read Moranian. Jasenia can, so that's fine, whatever.
Well, luckily we do trust Jasenia fully already.
100% at this point, yeah. Yeah. And she says, Mom says, you don't have to understand my choices. You simply have to survive. I love you enough to bear the weight of your disappointment. And then she leaves. And then Mira says, think she's full of shit? And Violet says, I think the Flyers can wield. She's like, good point.
She knows that 3 of her children are the rebellion, and she's not like, maybe I should join them? Like, does she think she won't be allowed in?
Or does she think maybe it'd be a good idea to keep an eye on things on the other side?
Maybe she thinks she can help influence them not to go and kill them all.
Yeah. Or maybe she still believes very strongly in her thing, but at the same time she's like, psh, my kids are more important than the whole continent and I don't care. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, because if your kids are the most important, then fuck everything and just join them. Be there to protect
help them. Yeah.
Help them.
Very good point.
But
I would think it's more than what I said before. Like somehow she just feels like she still needs to keep an eye on. Maybe she's keeping them safe by being on the leadership.
Yeah.
And the fact that no one thinks that she's like,
I mean, she was able to hand them this journal, so I mean,
they
it is
still
kind
trust
of
her thoroughly. So
yeah,
interesting.
Even though she they trust her thoroughly, but she requested to see her kids.
I know,
but I guess they were like, yeah, women, women, they just love their kids or whatever.
I know, it's interesting. So, anyways, but the end of all this, they go back to those wyvern carcasses, right, and cut them open. That rune is still humming, and when it's taken out, it's like almost like calls to the other wyvern, and it freaking wakes up.
Yes,
it's terrifying. Like it activates it. Horrifying. And I love how she just like no caution at all, just zaps the thing and hits it.
Yes,
she's getting good. What's it called?
Control
aim. Yeah. Although it does throw her and Mira off, and they skid off in another direction, but that's fine. And now they're sitting in stunned silence watching the now smoking charred wyvern for signs of movement. And then Mira says, you're sure lightning kills them? And she's like, certain. Thank Dune the Dark Wielders didn't stick around longer to see that.
Yes.
Because then they would have known it wasn't very workable. Mira looks at her and says, no pressure, but if you don't figure out what Warwick lied about, we're all fucked.
Yeah.
And then Violet's like, right. And then she thinks to herself, because I did such a great job the first time, she's like, no pressure. And that's the end of this chapter.
But do you know what Jasenia could do full time? That. Like,
what else is she doing?
You were trying to do this while everything else. Like,
which was also dumb. They should have had her full time working on the words. I'm just saying.
But she needs to do her war college.
She needs to learn her physics.
Yeah, God. She needs physics.
People.
Back in the beginning of the first book, beginning-ish, middle maybe, Xaden not only knows Dane's power, but he also knows that Dane is trying to get Violet into the scribe quadrant.
Yeah.
And he has this conversation with Violet about it.
Yeah.
And she goes, what the fuck? And he goes, it's the shadows.
Yeah.
So this is another time when it's like, I don't think that's the shadows. I don't think that the shadows have that power.
Yeah.
I think that he must have known that he must, oh my gosh, it's just so crazy. He must have known that Violet had a crush on Dane. And however Dane felt.
Also, and when he noticed the kiss.
Yeah, he says, that looked awkward. I knew you guys blah, 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 blah.
He probably picked up Dane's intention and her intention that time and realized neither of them were really all that hot and bothered.
Well, definitely Violet wasn't.
Yeah, she was like, ew.
She was like, oh, this is like kissing my brother, actually. I'm not so sure about this. So, all of that. Like, all of that. And also, like, being mad, like, knowing about the boot thing. Did she ever fully tell Xaden about how she switched boots with Rhiannon? Because he clocks it in that moment when they first meet each other.
Well, they're wearing two different shoes on each foot.
But did he notice obvious. Rhiannon that she was wearing two?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
But this is probably why he never killed her.
But
probably because from in the beginning, he's like, she's got too many good intentions. She's worried about this person she
random
just
person.
met.
I know, and I kept
She read Jackson. Do you realize when he said, so when she's just about to go to on the parapet and Jack comes up, he says, he says to her, you better get going. He's probably reading Jack's intention.
Oh my gosh.
That he's going to push her off.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
And he's like, well, that's, yeah. He didn't have to say anything, but he did.
Well, he did kind of promise her mom that he would...
No, I forgot. That's right. He does.
Keep her alive.
That's right. There was that.
To the best of his ability, but, like, could he have been like, whoopsies?
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't control what happened in the middle of the parapet. Sorry.
He could have totally said that. But yeah, I do think that he very much read Jack's intention and was like, you better hurry.
That's so crazy. And even, like, the fact that he wasn't that mad at her when she told all of her friends... It's because he already knew they were all really good people.
Yeah, he knows people very well, obviously, and read their intentions.
Crazy. It's just so crazy.
It is really crazy.
Also, so if I wasn't in the middle of another book right now, I would just pick up Fourth Wing again because I really do I want to go back.
I was thinking
that no wonder why people reread. You have to reread after knowing this.
Yes, you pick up so much. Now you've picked up a lot, but you picked up a lot with your hands tied behind your back, right? And when you get to the end of this book, realize that I ended this book with no third book.
I can't even...
And then you'll understand why I just literally put it down, walked over, picked up Fourth Wing, and opened it and started from chapter 1. Because I was like, no.
I'm just not allowed. Oh, I can't wait. Okay. I also forgot to say this, but when she was wondering if the Venin got runes from someone, I was just thinking, I bet you a Tyrish citizen... who would know the runes because it's still taught in Tyrandor must have become a Venin.
Right.
Because anyone can become a Venin.
Yeah. And it was the Tyrish guys are the ones that knew the runes.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, okay, yeah. But not Promiel.
No.
So it's from them.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. No, that's good.
Anyways, just interesting.
That is good. Okay, good. So we're done with this episode, and that was a very long episode. So let's wrap up this ending here.
Yes. Thanks for listening. We have an Instagram and a Threads. You can find us at First Wing Pod. We have a Discord. It's always in the description of our episode. You should follow our podcast on whatever platform you're listening to us on because we will come up in your feed more often. You will never miss an episode, and also it just helps us grow and find more people so that the Discord can have more people, so you have more friends to chat with.
Yeah, we have some good chatting in the Discord.
Yes.
If you ever feel like you need to yell at us about something, you really should be in our Discord.
Yes.
It's really easy to be in Discord if you're not someone who uses Discord. Just, I wasn't either when obviously when everybody first gets in isn't, but it was a little overwhelming at first. Ours is super easy.
There's
you just download
channels.
The app and you click this link and get to our thing. There's literally 2 channels. You
it says spoilers,
chat with us.
No
it's just
spoilers.
It's like a chat group. It's like a little chat room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like just a big group chat. It's free.
Yeah, you're not giving us anything. Yeah.
Anyways, and then we also read reviews on our podcast. So when you review us on Apple Podcasts or if you, rate us on Spotify and leave us a comment as your review, we always read them on the podcast. Yeah.
So we discovered actually that we have been missing some reviews for some reason. When we open up Apple Podcasts, they only show us the reviews for the United States. No clue why that is. And apparently we have to go through each individual country to find a review from that country. It was it's such a weird thing. So Brianna spent some time and went through every single country on the list to see if there were reviews in other countries. And there were. And we've just apologies to this first person who gave us a review in March and was probably wondering why we never read it.
Yes.
There was no personal reason for that.
No, we just didn't know we had to click on Australia specifically to see your review.
Right. So this one is from someone in Australia. The username is Maddie Barrett. And it says, love the pod and hearing your opinions. I've just finished Iron Flame and can't wait to hear what you both think of the ending. Which
we're getting really close
maybe
to.
It was a perfect time to read this because we're getting... So, Maddie... We are very excited about the ending.
Next episode, we are covering chapters 58 and 59, assuming that they're not super short.
Yeah, no, I think they're both will be medium length, so I think that's good.
Perfect.
Okay, guys, join us next time, writers.
Bye.
Bye.